Hey, what is up guys, Seth here, and you know, I've been watching a lot of the 5Ds anime recently. I've started from season 1. I never really did catch a lot of the first season, and it reminded me how infinitely better Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds was to Zexal. And then I remembered what it is that made Zexal so bad, and it's not even just the anime that's bad, it's not the characters that are bad, it's not the concept that's bad, it's not everything about it is bad. XYZing is bad. Now you might disagree with me, you might say XYZing is great, you love XYZing, all of that crap, but really what it comes down to is the reason you loved 5Ds, if you did love 5Ds, was because none of the monsters were the same. None of it was the same. A monster built up its bonds with other monsters to create a much higher level monster, and that was the great thing about it, was you saw all of those bonds go together. It wasn't two of the same monster creates an ultimate monster, and that's kind of what Zexal is. XYZing and Zexal are all the same. It's all a bunch of the same monsters bringing out the same stuff, and it just reminds me of conformity. Like, you have to, in the XYZ, when it comes to XYZ, there's only specific ways of doing things. In synchros, there are different ways to get different goals to what you want to achieve. You can do it with the Junk Doppel engine, you can do it with the Quick Draw engine, you can use Lavos, you can use the Flame Veil Fire Dogs, you can use a bunch of things, you can use Dragoonities to get to where you want to go. There are so many different options to get where you want to go, and that was the great thing about Synchro Era. With Zexal, it's different. Everything has to be the same. If you want two level 4 machine types, you've got to get 2 level 4 machine types, and usually they're the same monster, or monsters of the same name, or the same archetype. It's just, something about that is so wrong. Something about that just doesn't feel right. It shouldn't be that way, and that's why XYZ kind of failed. That, and the fact that because you had to get 2 of the same monsters, it made the game so linear, it made the game so predictable. And from watching the first season of 5Ds, I realised how diverse everything was. Everything had plays. The weird bit was, sure, there were synchro monsters, sure, there was times where it was Junk Warrior quite a lot of the time, but at the same time there were other monsters to help those out. And then when you realise the fact that there were spells and traps that were being used with them, it wasn't I summon Utopia, I power up Utopia. That wasn't what it was about, and Zexal is exactly like that. There is not an episode where there isn't a Utopia that comes out. And then once Utopia does come out, the thing that you'll do the most is power up that Utopia. You'll use Utopia Ray, you'll use Utopia Ray 5, you'll use Utopia Ray Victory, or whatever it's called. Why does everything have to be the same? What comes down to is, when you realise that when you were watching 5Ds, you were seeing Junk Warrior, you were seeing Turbo Warrior, you were seeing Stardust, you were seeing Nitro Warrior, you were seeing Junk Destroyer, you were seeing everything. Everything that could happen, you were seeing. And when Junk Warrior was destroyed and off the field, it wasn't a case of, I need to get Junk Warrior back to my field ASAP. It was, I need to do something else. I need to bring out a different monster. I need to deal with the situation differently. And that was the great thing about 5Ds. But with Zexal and XYZ, it's just, I need that XYZ monster on the field. I must have it on the field. Or I need 3 copies of it in my extra deck in order to abuse it some more. Ophion is the perfect example of this. Utopia is a great example of this. Get it to the field ASAP and you've won the game. And I just believe that that's why Zexal failed on so many levels, was just the amount of the same monsters, the same levels, the same kind of effect, the same names, all of that. It was just, there was no diversity. When it came to like Yusei's deck, or Jack's deck, you would see Resonators, you would see loads of kinds of Resonators, you would see loads of Dragons, Strongwind Dragon, you would see all these different cards running together. With Yusei's deck, you would see, you know, everything from Roadrunner to Junk Synchron to Nitro Synchron to Debris Dragon. You would see it all. You would see everything. And that was the weirdest part, was that was never retained in Zexal. It was just the same monsters over and over. And nothing's changed, and I think we're in season 3 or something, and nothing's changed. It's still the same. Everything's the same, and that's why Konami might not even be able to do an anime series next year. You know, it might just be a new form of summoning, and it might stay within the game, and that's just really sad, because there hasn't been a year without a Yu-Gi-Oh anime, and it's just, that's kind of sad. And the last thing I really want to talk to you guys about is conformity. Zexal has promoted conformity on a new level, where if you don't run decks in a certain way, it's seen as wrong. That's perfect to E-Dragons. E-Dragons are a case of, if you don't run it that way, it's the wrong way you're running it. And for you to, you don't even need to it was born in an XYZ format, and now it no longer XYZs. It barely XYZs at all in this format, and that's just kind of crazy. An XYZ deck that doesn't XYZ, it abuses the fact that it can special summon at little cost, synchro summon into an 8 with any level 1 tuner. It's just, it's destroying the synchro game, it's destroying the XYZ game, it's destroying everything. You guys might hate on me for not liking E-Dragons, but when you see what it's done to the game, if a ban list can hit so many monsters and so many spells in that deck, and the deck still survives as the top tier of meta, something is wrong. Something is very wrong. No deck has got hit that hard and survived, and that deck survived at the top tier still. And what kind of bothers me is that there's so many good cards in Yu-Gi-Oh at the moment. There's so many great cards, and if you don't run decks a certain way, if you don't run E-Dragons the right way, quote unquote right way, then your deck is seen as trash. The cards you're running are seen as trash. That's not the case. That's nothing to do with it. Cards are not trash. They're just, there's a certain strategy among them, and whether you understand or appreciate that strategy is not, that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you understand it or appreciate it. You give him the respect that he deserves for trying something new, for building a deck, for trying to be a little bit creative, for not following suit and being, conforming to the way that you want to run the deck and everybody else wants to run the deck. So yeah, guys, comment, like and subscribe. What do you think of Zexal in particular? And this is Seth punching out.